Each day, millions navigate the digital world, where infinite connections and opportunities intertwine. Yet, lurking beneath this utopia exists a sinister underworld, a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise that feeds on our children's lives. In these open and sometimes shocking conversations, you will learn how to identify behaviors in others who may be in danger and afraid to speak out. You will meet the people in law enforcement who fight every day to protect children from the conduit of evil that flows freely into their phones. You will be face to face with survivors of the terror that is human trafficking, who have come into the light to rise and fight back.
Brittany, we're here with the Her campaign, inviting our audience in to some really powerful conversations. What can we expect as we meet some of these heroic survivors?
These stories are the most powerful stories of overcoming that we will bear witness to. When we have gone through the deepest, darkest tragedies and evil and trauma, to then be able to come on the other side and say there is still hope, it's going to be super impactful.
These conversations are hard, and you may be triggered. You may need to take a moment as an audience member. If you are seeking resources, there are resources at the end of this series. We hope that you are informed by the heroic stories.
I was born in a religious cult here in my hometown. My dad traded me for power in this cult and was unsuccessful. The first time I went into foster care, I was 2 years old. My biological parents were not able to care for me, and my father was in prison. And then my biological grandmother had adopted my sister and I when I was between 2 and 3 years old. And then at the age of 4, was the first time that I was ever sold. So my father had learned about the sex trade in prison, and when he got out of prison, he made me his first. And so my father started selling me to other men for a profit, and that continued until I was 8 years old. In between that time, I just remember being exposed to meth and heroin for the first time, and being made to do things for the pleasure of other men. That is when my father knew that he was going to go back to prison, and so he sold me to the man who taught him about the sex trade. And that man became my owner.
Human trafficking is coercing or compelling another person's actions for a trade of anything of value, for either work, whether that be labor or sexual service.
This is Andy. He's my dad. I don't think that's what you wanted me to say.
This is Janisha. Janisha is a friend of mine. Janisha is strong. She's a survivor. She's a warrior. And she helped me to gain a better understanding of how to relate with individuals that lived through a trauma that you can never fully understand. We've partnered now for a little over a year, and we've got some things on the horizon for her to be able to help me better educate law enforcement.
I was in family recovery court. He came in and did a presentation, and I sat down with him and told him my whole story. So easy to talk to. I've never met somebody that's in law enforcement that was this easy to talk to. You are a very big part of my life. I might not agree with everything you tell me to do or all the advice you give me, but it really does mean something to me. You have changed my life.
Traffickers lure their victims in a multitude of ways. One of the more common ones nowadays is through platforms such as social media, dating websites, but they'll also go to areas where large groups of people convene, such as malls, and look for individuals that are kind of set off alone by themselves.
I was kidnapped by gorilla pimps. I was walking down Fruitvale, and this guy that had a wig on was driving a really nice car. I thought it was a woman, okay? Was like trying to tell me to get in the car, so I get in the car because I'm like really like naive at this time in California, and I get in the car, and I soon realize that it's a man, and I'm confused because he's got like a manicure, really nice clothes, and a wig on, and I'm just like, this is so weird. But then he drives me to Hollywood and LA, and I meet all of his girls. They get my hair done and take photo shoots of me. It's like, this is kind of a trigger because it was like this a little bit, like with cameras and lights. It was very professional photo shoot. He would put me in really high-end hotels, and I would sleep with doctors and lawyers.
This is the conduit of evil into everybody's life, especially the young people, because this is the vector that is used to reach every single person who uses this device. If they don't know who they're talking to, they can be manipulated, they can be coerced into becoming a trapped person by a master manipulator who's on the other end.
I was raped by my grandpa. I was supposed to go over there and clean. Everybody, they looked at it like it was nothing. Nobody believed me. Around that time as well, I started drugs. My drug of choice was meth. And at that time, my brother, who was my best friend, he was in prison. And one of his friends decided, since my brother wasn't there to protect me, he was going to be. And I didn't know what that meant. He was going to be my pimp.
Families will sell their children for drugs to people who are selling the drugs. A lot of kids on my reservation have a similar story that I have.
And we're here to talk about a couple hard subjects, and one of those is human trafficking. I'm wondering, what does that mean to you all? What do you know about human trafficking? Has that affected your communities or your conversation?
So I would say we see definitely a good amount of human trafficking in Montana. We have a lot of different road systems that all connect here.
So I didn't even really know these were problems or things until I got to high school. And I guess we see it more than I think we should, which we shouldn't see it at all. And so
I was the same way. I didn't really know anything about human trafficking until like around middle school, until then we started seeing like Native American girls and women and all of that stuff go missing, and then my parents talk about it, and then they just tell us to like be aware.
What's something that you would say to those millions of young people out there that you think might lead them to feeling more secure to speak out or say something?
Nothing's gonna change unless you take the action.
And I tell them you are loved, you are worthy, you are enough, and you have a plan, you have a purpose, you have a job to fulfill, and your story could affect other people.
So at the age of 12, I had done a job for my owner, and shortly thereafter, I found out that I was pregnant. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I felt ashamed. I felt guilty. And I just wanted it to be done and over with. And for the last 3 months of my pregnancy, my owner had taken me to the bunker to make sure that nobody had found out that I was pregnant. And I had my baby in the bunker where she was taken from me by my owner. And so my owner sold my daughter.
We are agents, detectives, officers that are all a part of this group or this task force that we specifically try to keep our kids safe in the online persona. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force handles a variety of crimes, from cyberbullying to sextortion to the trading, possession, or manufacture of child sexual abuse material, or commonly known as child porn. They tie into human trafficking because a lot of times they have to make connection with these kids in one form or another. And in today's age, that's through the internet, that's through a cell phone.
I was 19 when I had my first interaction with being trafficked. I ended up being sold without my knowledge. Those types of things happening within the realm of drugs It becomes so normalized that, to be completely honest, I didn't realize that was the name of what happened to me until I was about 3 years into recovery. I just didn't care if I lived or died because of all the crap, right?
So remember the term master manipulator. They find a way to manipulate that person into a situation where they can control them. The perpetrators are using this person as a commodity, nothing more than an asset to be sold. And why it's the most lucrative business is because a person can be sold multiple times a day, whereas any other illicit substance can only be sold once.
Maybe you are not a victim of trafficking yourself, but I guarantee you each and every one of you has a friend or has been friends with somebody at one point in time that has been going through an extremely difficult time in their life. And that thing could be trafficking, but it could be a multitude of other things. The best thing that you can do is be there for somebody.
If I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be able to help others. It may look far away right now. It may look like nobody cares. It may feel like you're trapped. No matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through, there is always a bigger, better plan for your life, because there's somebody out there who needs to hear your story. There's somebody out there who you can help.
I got sober, and I'm currently 3 years sober. I own my own business, my own cleaning business, and I am very open with my children.
These are dark, dark cases. And you have given a purpose back to what I do. So thank you.
Thank you. If I was my future self 10 years from now, I describe myself as brave, strong, and worthy.
I hope this message hits you and it sinks inside you and stays with you. Every one of you is valuable. Every one of you has a fire inside you that is not yet realized. You have a purpose in this world. Look to the students to your left and right and the students walking down the hallway, and make an effort every single day to make a kind gesture to just one person. That one person that doesn't seem like they are connected, they may be retracted. One kind word, one hug, one high five in the hallway can make the difference in somebody's life.
The biggest growing crime area in ICAC right now is sextortion. When these people are taking these photographs or these conversations that they're having with children, and they're using those photographs or the content of those conversations as blackmail to get more content, to get money, or to meet up for sexual favors or interactions. And that right there crosses the line of human trafficking. It's just in a digital space. We've had kids in the state of Montana that have paid over $4,000 over a year, $5, $10 at a time. And friends were giving them the money so they could pay, and they paid and paid and paid until they couldn't anymore. And as soon as they stopped paying, those photos were posted. We've had other kids that have committed suicide over this.
Other elements that a trafficker looks for in a trafficking victim, something that they can exploit, a vulnerability that that person has.
It is good to understand the grooming practices that these predators employ, but also it is valuable to be aware of other high-risk vulnerabilities. These include, but aren't limited to, substance abuse, children who may have run away from home or otherwise be homeless, people with low self-esteem, or those living in a marginalized population. Being armed with this knowledge can reduce the dangers of you, or people you know, being targeted.
There are law enforcement officers out there that exist to rid the world of evil, that exist to bring humanity back to this world.
A few things that I hope you heard. These folks are incredibly passionate about helping. You don't have to be embarrassed. These are confidential conversations, and the folks that we've met today are committed to ensuring that you are treated with respect And you need to know that the information will not be shared far and wide, but these are safe conversations. Absolutely nothing is more important than your safety and your security. If you are not in control of your life, if someone else is using you, say something, and we can get you to safety.
If you are concerned someone is being trafficked, call the Montana Human Trafficking Hotline at 833-406-STOP. That's 833-406-7867.